Good afternoon, Jamaica. Welcome to Sports Unwrapped, Gleaner Online's weekly sports review. I'm Leighton Levy. We talked to the president of the Jamaica Basketball Association on Sunday. Elections come up, and will he repeat as president? We find out after the break about why Ajani Williams should or should not go back as the president of the Jamaica Basketball Association. Welcome back to Sports Unwrapped. I'm Leighton Levy. As we said before, with me is Ajani Williams, the current president of the Jamaica Basketball Association. And on Sunday, the man who will put up his position, his title, up for grabs when he goes up, being challenged by Captain Clifford Lumsden, who will be seeking to become president of the Basketball Association. But Ajani, welcome, of course, to Sports Unwrapped. Tell me, you've had a pretty solid presidency, but you've had their hiccups. What are the strengths of what the last 2 years? Where are the areas that you think you were strongest? And of course, where are the areas that you think you could have been better?
Well, I think the areas that we were strongest, I think, was in first fundamentally understanding how development should happen, or one of the better ways it should happen, which is across the whole island. I think when I came in, I noticed that the basketball was really being played under a national title, but yet it was 12 teams in Kingston. I think for a number of years, the problem was finding a model of how you get it to work cost efficiently and without disenfranchising anyone. And we found that model, and we expanded from 12 teams to 27 teams across the island, from the west to east, central, and in Kingston. And I think that's one of our legacies. Obviously, I think, giving it more media attention, we had the most print, the most articles, the most TV, the most radio that we've ever had in our history. And I think that was a monumental achievement. I think the third, winning the third Caribbean Championships, getting Samardo Samuels, who is now in the NBA, getting an NBA coach, Sam Vincent, was huge, and not getting him for $50,000 US a month, getting him cost efficiently. I think that was important. So we won our third Caribbean Championships with a really great team, which also helped us to build in getting more like Roy Hibbert, who plays for the Indiana Pacers. So that success led to building a stronger team, which will carry forth 2012, 2016, 2020. Those are some of our core successes.
You've had some challenges, though. You've had a little run-in with the Southern Conference. They've accused your administration of not listening enough, right, of not being more cognizant of the concerns of some of the other conferences. How do you respond to that? And is it something that you're looking to turn around if you manage to retain the presidency?
Well, I have to be very careful with this answer because you don't want to be condescending. I think I'm a good listener. I think at times all of us can be stubborn if we really have a belief in something. I think the reason why it was hard to listen was that if you look at the lack of success of basketball and where it should have been 10 years ago, 20 years ago, especially during the high point of the 90s, there have been a lot of failings. Yes, there are pieces that are done okay, and they were there, but we felt like those really needed to be pushed, and they weren't being pushed enough. There were kids falling through the crack in terms of scholarships, kids with talent that weren't given the opportunity, just a plethora of issues. So we basically said, if we spend the time meeting every single day talking about the issues, and you have 50 people trying to debate one issue, it would take another 10 years. And so honestly, you have to make tough decisions and say you're going to have to grab some things by the horn and move it. And in moving those things forward, which we've had a lot of success, it does make people uncomfortable from where they traditionally were. And so it was expected, some of that backlash, but the backlash only came from a very minute 2% of the entire basketball community. 98% of the basketball community across the island were absolutely thrilled that they were suddenly enfranchised. They saw a new image, they saw new money coming in. Teams are now getting $70,000 just to be a part of a league where they weren't even getting $70,000 to win their conference championship. So these are, the results matter. I do believe that we will listen even deeply, even more deeply, and ensure that we have a kind of cohesive group. But we still won't use big groups. We still will use smaller groups, but groups all across the island.
You brought in a lot of money for the NBL over the last season, with $60 million in this latest sponsorship arrangement for the National Basketball League. Will this be the continued thrust of the foundation, of the association, if you should be returned as president, bringing in more money to the sport? And how quickly can you do that?
Well, I think the NBL has a cap on how big it can get. I think the cap is probably between $40 and $50 million. I think that won't be realized until another probably decade. But I think there's a lot of value in the individual teams, and I do have a new model that I believe will supersede any sport possibly here in this country of how that's looked at. And we hope to inject that new model into the NBL. But our core pivot and focus will be, as Oberon said, is development. Development of the Women's League, development of mini league, and development of high school coaches and referees. This will be our focus, and less so the NBL. The NBL is on steady ground. There will be pointed work here and there to tweak, but most importantly now it's all about development.
So that's going to be your mantra for the new administration?
Yes, development and infrastructure. We have a program called Adopt a Court. We also will be going into facilities management, which JAB has never done. I don't know if other industries have done it. We'll be looking at the National Stadium. We put proposals forth to the Ministry of Sports. We put it forth to the IPL. We know that we now actually through the Northern Conference own Buckfield Court in Ocho Rios in East Management. We'll be approaching Montego Bay's Cricket Club. So we're going into management, and we actually think we can actually drive revenues from these facilities and manage them better than folks who don't understand basketball. And those funds will be used to, one, improve the infrastructure, reinvest, and two, also help those regions administer their several leagues.
One final question. How confident are you that you'll be returned as president come Sunday when elections are held?
Well, I think we're in a new era of where Jamaicans want success. They don't want rhetoric. They don't want, I am going to do such and such. They want to know how, and then they want to see that realized. I think we've done that. Even if people aren't happy with everything, one thing they can't debate is the successes that we have had. I leave that to people. We've presented our case, not just in the last 2 weeks, but for the last 6 months. And we really believe in the intelligence and the integrity of our entire electorate. And if they were not to make that decision, then I feel that that's a wonderful democratic process. And guess what? I will still be there to help basketball on the outside. And maybe I'm even better on the outside. I don't know.
Well, Ajani, thanks much. When we come back, we catch up with Oberon Peterson, who is running for that position, a historic position as a vice president of the Jamaica Basketball Association. She'll be one of 2 females running for the post of vice president under Ajani Williams' administration. You're running for a historic position in the Jamaica Basketball Association. You're running for the post of Vice President of Development. How important is this for you to win this position for yourself and for women in the sport?
It is important, one, because when you look at basketball in Jamaica, it has grown tremendously. To take it to another level, I'm glad that I'll be able to do that with the support and the help of our committee, our executive. Hopefully we can move it to where it is. I mean, the vision is there to where it actually can go, and we want to make sure that happens, and in my era, in my time. One of the things that with development that you want to look at, you want to take this holistic approach. However, staying in the confinement of our budget, because you know it's really hard to raise money, and it's hard when you're trying to get everybody involved. A couple of things I have in mind. First, I want to appoint development officers all over that represent the conferences, the 5 different conferences. So in doing that, we ensure that whatever is done here, it's stretched out to where they are, and hopefully that they can be a part of what is happening. We're going to look at, first of all, our mini program, because you have to start there, because that's where we get the players from. And hopefully we can, move up from there. Definitely we're going to look at the women's program, because it's something that has been dormant, you say, for quite some time. And we want to lift it. The female basketball team, which I'm a part of, or was a part of the last championship in Puerto Rico, done tremendously well historically. They have done well. So it's about using that tool, and that success that we had in Puerto Rico definitely propel all of us to really want to take the sport where women is concerned. So we're doing it here, and we're getting press involved, we're getting our coordinators involved, getting the right person to do the certification program of coaches, because you're going to need them. So we're taking it one step at a time. We're going to have aimed objective to see what we're going to cover, and the time in which we're going to do that.
Tell me though, one of the criticisms of the current administration was that they didn't do enough to develop women's basketball. Does this now counter that belief, because everything can't be done at the same time? Rome wasn't built in a day. Is that the mindset within the administration?
No, definitely not. We're looking to move it. We're looking, I mean, we erred in some areas with the last administration, which of course I was a part of, and we're just looking to do things different. You know, when you start doing it different, you have different results, and there's hope that I think with the work being done, the result will be positive. So I'm not worried about that. I'm just looking to move forward.
We've seen where people like yourself have played basketball collegiately, women that is. We've seen Simone Edwards go on and play in the WNBA. Where's your vision for taking some of Jamaica's young girls now? I mean, give me a time frame. How far down the road do you see us having an influx of perhaps many more Jamaican young females playing in either in college or in the WNBA?
It's funny because right now we don't have a lot of females who are interested in basketball, and that's what we're trying to do first and foremost. I think it's something that can be done. We just need to get the people, the persons there wanting to play the sport. You start from the high school, you get them interested, you give them the right training. Hopefully we can have coaches from the States coming down, running camps, to let them get a feel of what exactly is required to get a scholarship to the United States. And you know, from history, all of us that have left here, and I can tell you, 99% of us left here with no formal skills or basketball talent. I'm talking the female. And we have gone to the States and we have made our name in all of the schools that these ladies have played in colleges. Some have gone on more. So the potential is there just to get them and to move them. So lots of effort is going to be placed on that.
Where do you see the overall growth of the sport going in the very near future? Because you know the terms are limited, but by the end of the next term, what do you expect the sport to be locally?
That will be one of the favorite sports in Jamaica. It's going to be difficult to be the top sport because a lot of most corporate persons, company focus on the cricket and the football and of course the netball. But it is a viable sport and it can go really, really far. But realistically, hopefully we can have a sustainable league, we can have a developmental program that continues to feed, whether it's the United States or feed the colleges in the States. And hopefully we can set up something down here that can get persons participating in leagues that are really competitive, almost parallel to what is in the States, or you know, at that level. So that's what we're looking for, and I think that's where it can go and further.
One last question: how do you sell the sport to the young ladies?
Oh boy, you have to be there. You have to be there physically. You have to let them know the benefit of it. If it's just like oh, come and play, they won't. So we have to get into the schools, get the coaches to get into the prep school, the high school, and let them want to. But we have to show them that there is, of course, benefit there. So we're trying to, you know, we have aligned ourselves with the UTEC, and hopefully that can get players to say, hey, it's a scholarship, so what? You want to get them there.
Well, Brian, thank you very much, and all the best on Sunday when elections come up.
Thanks, sir.
That's it for this week, folks. Well, of course, you know, you can catch Sports Unwrapped by going onto the JamaicaGleaner.com website. Find the Sports Unwrapped logo, click on it, and you'll see the show. Of course, you can send us your email at sportsunwrapped@gleanerjm.com, and you can catch my blogs at gleanerblogs.com. But we couldn't let you go without giving you the sports fact of the week. Next year, 2012, will mark the 50th year that the sport of basketball has been played in Jamaica. That's longer than the sport has been played in a professional league in the United States. 50 years in Jamaica, and we're still trying to find our way through, but hopefully we will do it soon. But that's your sports fact of the week. This is Leighton Lee saying goodbye until next week, and until then, be a good sport.